You might be a perfectionist if it's never enough. You hit a milestone and you don't pause and celebrate, you're already on to the next thing and then the next thing. If you have a ceiling that just keeps going higher and higher, you might be a perfectionist, my love. You might be running on fumes and you might be running off adrenaline from a trauma response. And that will catch up to you, honey. I hope it doesn't, but it sure did for me. And it sure does for a lot of the CEO mom bosses that I work with. It catches up eventually.
Hey, I'm Brooke Jean, therapist, recovering perfectionist, and struggling working mom on a mission to normalize normal. If you're an overwhelmed, high achieving, and secretly anxious mama, struggling to balance it all and on the brink of burnout, you are in the right place. Here is where we talk about hard things like balancing work and family life, mental health, and how to navigate life altering transitions. Nothing is too taboo here. In my conversations, I'll teach you how to let go of who you think you're supposed to be in order to create the life you've always wanted. Get ready to embrace your messy, shed the shoulds, and find freedom through a life unperfected. This is the Unperfected Pod.
Hey, Mama, welcome back to the Unperfected Pod, where we normalize normal and find freedom in a life unperfected. I'm Brooke Jean. I'm your host. I'm so glad and grateful that you are here. Before we jump in, your girl created another incredible resource for you. So, if you are that high achieving, ease seeking, busy working mom who finds herself just sitting and spinning on the hamster wheel of never enoughness, this free guide is just for you. This is the Get Unstuck free guide. It is 5 therapeutic steps to help you get unstuck. So if you are continually re-editing, reworking, redoing because it's not enough and it is stunting your ability to get it done, grab this free resource. The 5 things that I teach you are: number 1, awareness. What is actually happening in your brain and body when you're frozen, when you're stuck, when you cannot move things forward and get the result that you want? Or maybe you're just sitting and spinning in your indecisiveness or in your reworking something until it's perfect, until it's good enough. You want to understand what's happening in your brain and body so that you can insert the rest of the skills that I'm going to teach you. Number 2 is breathing, right? We need to disrupt this pattern that you have ingrained in you that is keeping you stuck. So I teach one of my favorite breathing patterns to help you get unstuck. Number 3, we're going to teach you how to reframe your thoughts. What are you telling yourself that is keeping you stuck? Can you identify the thought so you can reframe the thought so you can then take different action? Guys, these are real therapeutic techniques that I use inside my private practice every single day to help people change their thoughts, to change their behaviors, to create new and meaningful outcomes. Number 4, you got to feel your feelings. Overthinking that comes with being stuck is a result of under feeling. So we got to get out of the head. We got to drop into the body so we can unhook from our stuckness. And then number 5 is taking aligned action. So I'm going to actually guide you to choose one baby step that can then turn into 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 baby steps to help you move in the direction that you want. So a lot of times when people are ready to go after big things, they're ready to unperfect their lives or their leadership or their business, but the first step is they're stuck. Brooke, how do I get unstuck? This is the guide for you. So I will link it in the show notes. Make sure to snag it. It's like having me, your coach, in your back pocket to help you unhook so you can start creating the life that you actually dream of. Okay, that's enough for now. Let's jump into today's topic, which is dun 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 7 signs that you're suffering from perfectionism. Perfectionism shows up in different ways in all of us. A lot of times it's sneaky, it's insidious, and it isn't easy to spot, right? And as I was just talking about the Get Unstuck freebie, sitting and spinning on things is a perfect example of you think that you're just not task oriented, or you think that you're just not able to get things done, or you're not utilizing your time and resources wisely, but it actually could be indicative of perfectionism. Okay. So, what I want to do today is I want to talk about the 7 signs that you might be suffering from perfectionism so that you can start to build some awareness around this, have some self compassion, and start to do some things different. All right. So, number one is that you're stuck. Stuck. I cannot move forward. I cannot take the next step. I cannot figure out the way through. I cannot find my way. I'm sitting and spinning on the hamster wheel. That is a sign that your perfectionism is driving the bus of your life. Okay. If you are reworking something until the cows come home and just redoing it, cannot get this website launched, cannot put this podcast out in the world, cannot make the request, cannot ask for help, cannot launch the business, cannot get the promotion, cannot secure the client, you're just stuck. It could very well be because your perfectionism is telling you it needs to be better and more and different before you can do it. Which leads me to number two, you're indecisive. Indecisive is a sign that you're sitting and spinning in perfectionism, baby. You cannot decide what the next step is because you are afraid of choosing the wrong thing, right? Being indecisive is just, I won't make a decision because, and this is where you might want to unpack it a little bit for you, is what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of making the wrong decision? Are you afraid of wasting any more time, energy, sanity, or money on this thing? Are you afraid of what other people will think? Are you afraid that it's going to get declined or rejected? Are you afraid of getting rejected? What is preventing you from just making the decision? What more are you telling yourself that you need to have in order to make that decision? Is a sign that you're playing in the land of perfectionism because you don't want to decide because you're afraid that it's not the right thing or the best thing or enough. We're going to talk a lot about enoughness in this episode. Okay. When you are stuck and you're sitting and spinning and you are really struggling to make decisions, it's because you're overthinking it. It's because you're trying to get it just right. But get curious about, why does that matter? What is the fear behind that's driving that? What is the pressure that you're putting on that decision? This looks like a small thing, like I can't decide what I want for dinner. And if you look at, well, why can't I decide? I don't want to make the wrong choice. I want to make a choice that everyone is going to be happy with. Okay. But it also can look like I can't leave the job that I'm in, even though it's torturing me and eating away at my soul because I don't know what I want to do with my one wild and precious life. And I'm afraid to explore that because I'm afraid I'm going to make the wrong choice. I'm afraid I'm going to get it wrong. I'm afraid that I'm going to leave something comfy and stable for something more risk averse. I'm afraid of what my partner's going to think about that. I'm afraid of what my family is going to think about that. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs that are launching businesses, indecisive about things. They're indecisive about their brand. They're indecisive about their I help statement. They're indecisive about their A to Z transformation that they offer. They're indecisive about their tiers of offers. They're indecisive about their pricing. They're indecisive about the desired outcome they want to market to. They're indecisive about their website. They're indecisive. And it's because the perfectionist in them is, this needs to be just right before I put it out into the world. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. When you look at the most successful people in the world, all they've done is fail forward. They've just had the courage to have a vision and to put their vision out into the world and to try things on, to keep moving forward and to use it all as information. So I don't need to have my offer just right. I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to see the response. I'm going to see how I can help. I'm going to start helping people and I'm going to see how that feels. And I'm going to allow myself to gather information and weave it into my next offer. We're all on a journey of learning and becoming. Why are we waiting until it's just right to go offer it, to go after it, to pitch it to the world? By pitching it to the world, we get clarity. By taking action, we get more clarity, right? So we don't need to stay in this indecision until we have it just right. Newsflash, it will never be, because what is just right? And according to whom? Whose rules are we playing by? Whose authority are we trying to honor here? Just go ahead and launch that stuff and see how it goes and get feedback and allow that to adjust your products, your services, your offers, your initiatives, your goals, your mission, all of it. Even your vision gets to evolve and change. Your mission gets to evolve and change. Your leadership gets to evolve and change. Your energy is evolving and changing. And if all those things get to evolve and change, then why are we so concerned about getting the pitch just right and the offer just right and the website just right and the blog just right? Just put it out into the world, babe, and be a work in progress like the rest of us. I've been in business 10 years now. I am continually evolving my I help statement. I am continually evolving my programs, my containers, my systems, my offers, my team. We get to be a work in progress. It's all good. But if you're afraid, if you're sitting in indecisiveness, it's because you're afraid and your perfectionism might be driving that fear. So get curious about that. The third sign that you're suffering in perfectionism is you're feeling anxious. I know you, girl. I know that you feel frozen. I know that you feel anxious. I know that you feel overwhelmed. I know that you feel overstimulated. I know essentially that you're living in a dysregulated nervous system sometimes, aren't you? I get it, babe. I'm with you. I still, at least a couple times a day, get dysregulated, get anxious. My fear takes over. My worst case scenario thoughts creep in because that perfectionist in me, man, she's a protector. And she's like, we are going to make sure that we're safe. We are going to make sure that we're successful. We're going to make sure that we're loved. We're going to make sure that we're liked. And she's going to keep pressuring me to get it just right. And all of that pressure to get it just right creates anxiety, creates a dysregulated nervous system. And so we have to jump off the hamster wheel, which is what my freebie is going to guide you to do, the get unstuck. Get off the hamster wheel, breathe, regulate your nervous system. And from there, we can take some better steps forward. So if you're in this wound up state, I want you to pause, breathe, and check in. What am I telling myself? Who's driving this bus? What am I anxious about? Is it pressure? Where is the pressure coming from? Is the pressure coming from my partner, my loved ones, society, or is it actually me? My own inner perfectionism is driving the pressure that is creating the anxiety. Take a deep breath with me. That's a big deal. That's a big insight. If you can figure out what is driving the pressure, then you can get to the root of the anxiety. That perfectionist in you, man, she just wants you to be good. She wants it to be good. She wants you to be okay. But she's going at it in an unhealthy way, which is why you're dysregulated, which is why you're feeling anxiety. So if you're wound up a lot of the time, if you're anxious a lot of the time, it could be because your perfectionism has you just running ragged, trying to be good enough, smart enough, beautiful enough, have the right body, have the right leadership, have the right success, have the right brand, have the right image, have the right relationship, have the right da 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 da. We're jumping off the hamster wheel. We're not subscribing to that. I recorded a podcast episode on how your perfectionism is a protective part. If you haven't already, please go back and listen to that because I want you to understand that your perfectionism is just trying to keep you safe. It's just trying to keep you loved and liked and successful and in the place of enoughness. And so we want to have awareness of that. We want to have self compassion around that. We want to love on that part. We want to thank her for her hard work. We want to put flowers at her feet and tell her, babe, you've done enough. It's enough. I'm my higher self, my CEO, boss energy, she's going to take over now. We give that protective part a new job, a new role, a new responsibility on the team. This is how we really get to the depths of healing perfectionism. We look at it that we understand that it's just a part of us that so desperately wants to keep us safe. And we need to honor her and cherish her and thank her, but we need to give her something else to do because perfectionism is not the move, babe. It's not actually going to get you where you want to go. It's not going to secure that long term success that you're looking for. It's going to burn you out. And your anxiety is an indicator that you're on that road to burnout because of your perfectionism. Now, it's not the only. Anxiety is, there's a million reasons why we have anxiety. I've also recorded several podcasts on that. It's not only perfectionism, but perfectionism and anxiety, they perpetuate each other in this spiral, in this circle, right? You have the fear that you're not enough, and that enrolls your perfectionism. Your perfectionism wants it to be enough, which then perpetuates your anxiety. And round we go. It doesn't even matter anymore if it's the chicken or the egg. If you have anxiety, you might have perfectionism. And if you have perfectionism, you probably have anxiety. Let's just use the anxiety as a clue that we need something different here, that we need a new way of being, a new mode of doing. Number 4 is procrastination. All right. You have put a ton of work into something and you just can't get it to the damn finish line. You've started a project, you're incredible at starting projects, but you don't finish them. You don't hit publish, even though the blog has been done. You've started a creative project and never seen it through to the end. And you want to look at, why do I wait till the very last minute to get things done? Why do I not finish? Because somewhere inside of you, you're telling yourself that it's not good enough. So that procrastination looks like it's not solid enough. I don't have enough experience. It's not well written enough. I don't have enough research behind me. Whatever. I don't have fill in the blank enough. So I'm not completing the task. That is perfectionism at its finest. So I'm trying to think of another example, like not finishing a book, not launching your coaching business because you think you need more experience. How many of you wait to put together the presentation until the week before or the day before because it lights a fire? Why do we need that fire? Because anything other than the fire doesn't feel like it's enough. It doesn't feel like it's enough. Or we can't sit in the anxiety of it. So we just push it off until it's time. And then it's go time and we make it happen because the anxiety ahead of time, oh, we can't stand that. So you're starting to see how some of these things play together. It's like the being stuck plays with the procrastination, plays with the anxiety, plays with the indecisiveness, and it's all rooted in it's not enough, which is perfectionism. It's not enough. So if you're not completing something, if you're not getting something to the finish line because you're telling yourself it's not enough, that's perfectionism, babe. Number 5, another indicator that you're suffering with perfectionism is you have a mean inner critic. Internal dialogue is very critical, constantly reminding you it's not enough. You should do more. Your inner critic is shoulding all over you. I should take my kids to all their practices. I should stay up late tonight to get this deadline done. I should go to that networking event. I shouldn't have hit publish until I edited that one more time. I should have looked at that one more time. Those of you that go and you do something, whether it's like a presentation or you led a meeting or rolled something out or went to a networking event, and then afterwards you relive every single thing that you did. I shouldn't have said that. I should have said that. I shouldn't have talked to that person in that way. I should have talked to that person. I shouldn't have had more than 2 drinks. I should have had a drink to loosen up. That like self criticism, that reliving what you could have done better, that internal voice that just constantly berates you and tells you mean things. If you have a loud inner critic, you are probably a perfectionist. Inner critic, she shames your body, she shames your wrinkles, she shames your looks, she shames your energy, she shames your parenting, she shames how you show up in relationships, and she's just always telling you where you're going wrong. We got to clean that up. Inner critic that is coming from the perfectionist part, she is literally creating your reality. The more that you tell yourself you're not enough, the more that you go and manifest a reality of not enoughness because our thoughts become things. Our thoughts affect our energy, and our energy creates our reality. So if you are living with a head, with a mind, with a mean girl inner critic that's constantly telling you how bad you are and how not enough you are, that makes you feel like shit. First of all, it's hard to do the right thing for ourselves, our families, our leadership, and our business when we're in a place of not enoughness from a feeling standpoint and from an energetic. And then that energetic gets busy resonating with other people, places, and experiences that are vibrating at that same frequency of not enoughness. Also, your reticular activating system, the RAS in your head, if you're constantly looking at your shortcomings, you're telling your RAS that your shortcomings are important. That's important information. So then your brain gets busy collecting and bringing forward more data to show you how not enough you are. What you pay attention to grows. Where attention goes, energy flows. If you are continuously paying attention to your not enoughness, you will find more not enoughness. You focus on expands, when you focus on your failures, when you focus on your gaps, when you focus on your weaknesses, you will grow them. Are you guys with me on this one? So, if you have a mean girl inner critic that is constantly telling you it's not enough, we need to clean that up because she is making it hard for you to feel good. She is making it hard for you to do good. And energetically, she's bringing forth things that match that frequency. And you deserve better, babe. But the problem, the reason why this is so crunchy and sticky is that we have these thoughts that we're not enough. We have them so many times over so many years that they literally get baked into our biology. They become neural pathways, automatic default thought loops that are continuously looking for us to do wrong and bad and not enough and for us to fail. And so the good news is that we have neuroplasticity. Good news is that our brains are malleable. And you may have spent your entire life living in this inner negative talk that has created these neural pathways that you automatically go to that then affect your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors, and your energy. There is good news. You can undo that. You can weaken those thoughts. You can weaken those neural pathways, and you can begin to build new ones that are looking for your goals, that are looking for your enoughness, that are feeling gratitude about your gifts and how far you've come. Celebrate these things. If you have a harsh inner critic, you're probably suffering with perfectionism. And everything I teach, every container that I have, I teach you how to reprogram your beliefs around enoughness and how to rewire and reframe your mind to get out of the inner mean girl into your biggest cheerleader, which completely transforms your reality. Okay. I'm working on this deep with my mastermind girls right now, but I also work with it in the freebie. In the freaking freebie, I have you identify your mean girl thoughts and reframe them and turn that reframe into a mantra and an affirmation so I can begin to teach you this process. So it doesn't matter if you're engaging on the podcast or in the freebie or in the mastermind or one to one or in any of my containers, you're going to learn this work because if we don't clean up our thoughts, they will determine our outcomes and they will affect how we feel along the way. And I think you deserve to feel good, babe. Number 6 is you don't celebrate. You don't celebrate you. You don't celebrate your accomplishments. You don't even see your own damn accomplishments. Baby, you don't even see how amazing you are. You don't see how far you've come. You don't see the amazing work that you've done. Even when you do accomplish something, when you hit a major milestone, instead of pausing to soak that in and to celebrate yourself, you're already on to the next thing, aren't you? Hit your first $10,000 month, instead of having a party, you're on to $20,000 months. You're on to $30,000 months. You get a promotion at work. You're on to what's my 30, 60, 90-day action plan, and how am I going to be influential, and how am I going to kick it, kill it? How am I going to knock it out of the park? And how am I going to then get to the next thing? You graduate with your bachelor's, and then it's no big deal. I got to get my master's, and then your master's is no big deal. And then you got to get your PhD, right? Perfectionists have a ceiling that just keeps climbing higher. They never arrive. Why? Because when they arrive at their destination, they want to go higher. They want more because the perfectionist says it's not enough yet. You need to do more. You need to make more. You need to have a bigger impact. You need to have more influence. Let's go. Don't slow down. Hurry up. This is exhausting. It's interesting because I've spent a lot of time studying successful people because I do believe that success leaves clues. And I'm just fascinated by humanity and personalities, and especially perfectionists and high achieving, high performing people, like what drives them, and how do you keep a healthy drive, and how do you live with intention, and how do you become a magnetic leader. Like, I just love studying this kind of shit. But when you look at the most successful people in the world, the ones that are billionaires and multimillionaires, they will all tell you the same damn thing, which is, when I became a billionaire, I had zero happiness and zero fulfillment. When I finally became a millionaire, I had spent my whole career climbing that mountain, climbing that ladder, thinking that when I arrived at the top of that mountain, when I was made my first million, I would finally be happy. I would finally enjoy life. I would finally rest easy. And guess what, babe? That's actually not what happens, because research shows that achieving the end result isn't actually what brings you the joy, the fulfillment, the happiness. It's the chase. It's the journey. That's actually the fun stuff. And so we don't celebrate as perfectionists because, number one, we don't do a great job recognizing ourselves and even seeing our gifts and seeing our effort and rooting for ourselves. And then when we do hit a major accomplishment, we're already on to the next thing because our perfectionism keeps us driving for more. Now, I spent 10 years climbing the corporate ladder at Target, and it was on pure adrenaline, pure trauma response. I was a single mom, and I just wanted to be successful so that way I knew I could support my son, that I knew I had enough money in the bank, and that we had benefits, and that I had opportunity to provide a real life for him, that I could put him through college. And so I was grinding. And it was like, I got my first promotion, that wasn't enough. I got my first raise, that wasn't enough. I got my first store and I'm a GM, that wasn't enough. I had to take on a more challenging store. Then I had to be high potential. I had to get on the Target jet. I had to be flown out here and meet with these people. It was like never enough. I never enjoyed the moment. I was on to the next. Did I climb that ladder like a mother effort? You bet. And at the peak of my career, 33 years old, what happened? I burned out. Burnt all the way out. I had to start over. So you might be a perfectionist if it's never enough. You hit a milestone and you don't pause and celebrate, you're already on to the next thing and then the next thing. If you have a ceiling that just keeps going higher and higher, you might be a perfectionist, my love. You might be running on fumes, and you might be running off adrenaline from a trauma response. And that will catch up to you, honey. I hope it doesn't. But it sure did for me, and it sure does for a lot of the CEO mom bosses that I work with. It catches up eventually. And then we have to jump off the hamster wheel because the universe kicked us in the tits and we have to. And then we build from a place of self-care, of self-awareness, of intentionality, of heart. of energy, not of hustle and grit and force and ego and perfectionism. So if you don't celebrate yourself, honey, because you're on to the next thing, you might be suffering with perfectionism. And all of those lead up to number 7, right? If you start at 1, you're just stuck. You're sitting and you're spinning. You're sitting and you're spinning. And step 2 was you're indecisive about things. You can't decide. And number 3 is you're anxious a lot and you're in a dysregulated nervous system. And number 4, you procrastinate. You might be unstuck and you might get started and you might make a decision, but you cannot get it to the finish line, or you wait until the last minute to make it happen. All along the way, you have a mean girl inner critic that's telling you it's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough. Do more, edit it longer, perfect it more. And then when you finally get that shit done, you don't celebrate. You don't acknowledge how far you've come. It's always on to the next, and you're pushing for more. And if you're doing those 6 things, baby, you are on the road to burnout, which is number 7. We're on the road to burnout. There are some of you that are listening right now, and I want you to know I'm closing my eyes and I'm sending you so much love and energy that you already know. Shit. I'm burning out. I'm close, or I'm already there. Burnout looks like a complete collapse. Looks like a mental collapse. It looks like a physical collapse. It looks like an emotional collapse. It looks like I'm nearing a collapse. I'm afraid I'm going to have a nervous breakdown. It looks like suicidal ideation. I want off this hamster wheel and I don't know how to get off. So I just want to run away and disappear and escape. It looks like lashing out. It looks like numbing out, eating and drinking and spending too much, gambling, cheating, all the things. There are some of you that are listening right now that are like, Brooke, I am on the road to burnout. If you are already on the road, you've got to reach out and get in one of my programs. This is not the way, honey. I promise you that you can be an amazing mommy. You can be an incredible leader. You can have an amazing business that has real impact and real results and real wins. And you can do it in a way that feels good. You can do it in a way that's in alignment with your core values. You can focus on the things that are energy rich. You can have joy. You can have playfulness. You can have pleasure. There is a way. I'm living it right now. I've created a method called Unperfected to help you get off the hamster wheel and create a life you actually want to effing live, that you don't need to escape from. But if you are burning out, there's a perfectionistic component here. There is an unsatiated drive inside of you that just keeps pushing you, and it's going to burn you out because it's not sustainable. And there's a difference, right? A lot of my women that I work with, they're afraid to take off the perfectionism suit because they're afraid that all of the work they've done to build their empire, whether that be in their family, in their business, in their community, they're afraid it's all going to come tumbling down, but it's not. It's just going to get a remodel. And we're going to go to the foundation first, and we're going to fill in the gaps in the foundation, which is going to be your healing journey and your alignment. And then we're going to start to build a new temple. And that's going to be your becoming. Who am I? Why am I here? What's my mission? What work do I want to be doing? What is my leadership style? What is my parenting style? What are my boundaries? What do I want out of my one wild and precious life? And then we're going to put the roof on that baby, which is your vision, which is your energy, which is your leadership. You're going to rise and you're going to have built a whole new empire that is sustainable, that is sexy, that is beautiful, that you get turned on when you're in your temple. You get so lit up and you feel so alive because you're living on purpose and you're living in alignment with who you're destined to be, and you're using your energy to get where you want to go, not the old paradigm of forcing and grit and discipline and blah blah blah. So you can be a driven woman with a big mission and a purpose on her heart, and you don't need to let your perfectionism be the guide here anymore. There's a better way. one that feels better on the nervous system, one that's more in alignment with your authentic expression, one that's a little bit fun, a little bit playful, a little bit joyful. Listen, if we're not having fun, what the fuck are we doing? What are we actually doing on this planet? Why did we come here? Why are we parenting? Why are we in houses? Why are we in marriages? Why are we teaching and leading and guiding and mentoring? And why are we creating if it's not to enjoy it? Now, I don't know what you believe in terms of who the creator is. It's all welcome here. Whoever and whatever you believe your creator is, do you believe that they created you so you could suffer? So you could just work your ass off and never feel like it's enough. So you can just do and do more and burn yourself out and live in resentment and live in an anxious nervous system and sit and spin until the cows come home. Do you believe that your creator wanted that for you? I don't. I believe that my creator wanted me to come here so my soul could evolve and so I could have some frickin' fun, so I could bring out the joy in others, so we could have fun together, so we could heal, so we could become, so we could rise, so we could shift the frequency of the planet, so we could evolve humanity, so we could heal transgenerational trauma and create a better and more beautiful future for our kids and our grandkids and future generations to come. Like, that's why I'm here. And it doesn't have to be hard and it doesn't have to suck. Does it sometimes? You bet. And do I call that out? Of course. But guys, we're here to have fun. We're here to have joy, pleasure, purpose, playfulness. And the unperfected way is the how. So let's recap the 6 signs you might be suffering with perfectionism. Number one, you're stuck. Number two, you're indecisive. Number three, you're anxious and you live in a dysregulated nervous system most of the time. Number four, you procrastinate because it's never enough. You always need more to get it complete. Number five, you have a mean inner critic. Your internal dialogue is super negative. Number six, you never celebrate because you're always on to the next thing. And number seven, you are on the road to burnout. You can feel that it's coming or you're already there. You're in your full collapse. Any of these resonate with you, I want you to know there's help. I would love to invite you into my world. I would love to invite you into my mastermind. I would love to invite you to my events. We have an event that's coming up August 30th here in Denver. More to come on that. I would love to invite you to my Instagram where I share a ton of free information at Brooke Jean Unperfected. I would love for you to enroll in any of my programs. I would love for you to work with us. Or I would just love to normalize your experience here in this moment so you feel less alone. I was running on fumes directed by my perfectionist for decades, and it led me to burnout. And I do believe all that happened on purpose. It all led me to where I am today. I'm not in the same career anymore. I left corporate America. I launched my business. I get to do work that am literally obsessed with. I had 2 babies 14 years apart with 2 different dads. I didn't marry my husband until 8 years into dating him. Like, I don't follow the rules anymore because I am busy creating a life that I actually want to live. And does that mean that it's perfect all the time? Does it mean that it's enjoyable every minute of every day? No. I still struggle. I still live with things like depression and anxiety. I still fall into the perfectionism trap from time to time. I still fall into the overachieving trap from time to time. I still get dysregulated and triggered and yell at my kids and then go and repair. I still have things in my marriage I'm working on. I still have things in my upbringing that I'm healing from. So is it all honky dory and rainbows and butterflies? No, but I'm proud of me and I am proud of you. And I am proud of the work that we have done. And I am proud that we continue to show up for ourselves and our families and our kids and our lives and our teams and our classrooms. And let's just live with more intention so it's easier. That's all. So I hope that there was something in here that makes you feel less alone, that inspires you to take a baby action toward your healing, your becoming, and your rising. And please join us in any of our containers so we can support you along the way. I love you so much, Mama. Take care of yourselves and there for each other. And I'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye for now. Hey, Mama, if you made it to the end of this episode, I just want to virtually high five you because you've said yes to the opportunity of taking better care of yourself. And that is so meaningful and so amazing. You have no idea the ripple of goodness that's to come. If you've been enjoying the show, if you've been finding it helpful, if you've laughed a little or learned a new technique, will you do me a favor? Will you make sure that you're following the show, that you've given us a 5-star rating and left a review? That will absolutely help us get this podcast into more heads and hearts of as many mamas as possible. Because when we heal the mother, we heal the world. Also, if there's a specific episode that you've loved, will you make sure to share it with a friend? Just send them the link or share it on social media and make sure you tag me at Brooke Jean Unperfected because I absolutely love seeing that this is actually giving you the impact that you so desire and deserve. Thank you so much, mamas. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves and therefore each other.